Well, it's been Mumbai's favorite snack for decades, and one company has taken it upon itself to take the vada pav beyond the streets of Mumbai and into the hearts of India. Dheeraj Gupta, Managing Director at Jumboking, joining us on the show to tell us his tale on how he's been redefining the vada pav. Dheeraj, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank
well, we were just looking at some visuals there, and
I'm already feeling it.
So, Jumboking is a company you started a while ago, Dheeraj,
Right.
but what's interesting is the kind of growth we're seeing in the company today. 100 stores and aggressive expansion all in the last, few months. What's led to it achieving this momentum now?
Yeah. So I guess for Indian brands, the biggest challenge for us was to get the supply chain in place and figure out a way to use world-class technology and employ it to sell a product which is going to be retailed at 20 rupees. And so getting in these elements is what has taken us more than a decade. And now having these basic nuts and bolts in place, I think we are in a position to add at least 100 stores every year, which is significant given the fact that we took more than 10 years to get to our first 100.
And you employ the franchisee model, isn't
Yes,
it, Dheeraj?
yes.
So you're seeing this growth because of the sudden potential that people are seeing in this particular category, or what has driven the growth now?
Yeah, so franchising is something we have been doing since day one. I think the biggest bottleneck was the supply chain. So while we have more than 200 franchise inquiries a month coming in from Chennai, Calcutta, Shillong, Chandigarh, all over the country, where we thought, vada pav might not even be known, but all of them know about the product. And what was holding us back was getting the same product made out of the factory in Pune into Chennai and into Cal, which is now possible.
Yeah, Dheeraj, I remember Jumboking, when we were probably, just, traveling, during college days. And I remember looking at it, you're probably one of the first companies that actually managed to get the whole concept of making it a niche play. Abroad, we've always got the concept of food trucks that have been doing the thing. This was an attempt to somewhat get that at a much larger scale compared to food truck. Run us through as to how does the daily operation really work? Because again, your menu is very restricted in that sense. So you work on volumes, you try to generate from that front. Take us through as to what your strategy has really been and how you managed to, clock those kind of turnover figures.
So I have been a great student of history and as a great believer in how brands get created. And if you look at all the multinational brands, all of them are single product focused, be it McDonald's on burgers, Domino's on pizzas, Subway on sandwiches, Dunkin' Donuts on donuts, Starbucks on coffee. So there is, an underlying truth in why product-focused companies make it so large. And that's where we took the bet on only vada pav and wanted to see how large it can become. And I think what Indian companies need to do, therefore, I say very confidently, there'll be at least 5 to 10 large food brands which will come out. Of the country, all focused on niche Indian food products, and our palette is pretty huge. Yeah.
So, just talking about that, and if that's what the kind of potential the country is really offering, that's the kind of platform that we've actually got out here for the industry. What have been your learnings so far when we talk about your 10 years of operation that we've actually seen Jumboking operate right now?
Right.
Which have been some of those key moments in the history of the company? Which have been some of those key learnings that you can share with us?
So yes, key learnings. If I were to give the top 3, one was when we got our initial success. I guess we got a little arrogant and we thought that we are making such good vada pavs, why not add a lot of other products into our menu? Maybe the Western brands don't know how to do it and we'll do it differently. And we realized that people come to our brand for a particular product and they want no surprises over there. And so it's good to stick to what you are best at and not add a lot of things and make the entire offering mediocre too. And the second part was going rash with the expansion, which we did about 7-8 years ago, where we were trying to go all over the place. And I had my financial mentor who told me that you are an MBA student, so just if you can maintain the discipline of growing this business at 35 to 40% year on year, you would be much larger than any of the large food companies that we have in India today. And actually if I had listened to him 6 years ago, we would have been at least 4 times our size today. So that is a huge learning. So now I think we're getting that discipline in place. Yeah.
Fantastic. How is the latest e-commerce boom affecting companies like yours, Dheeraj, given that all of the hot money seems to be flowing into that segment and these are very new young businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, the money is going to them. They are getting valued very fancily. But we are, actually looking at it in a way that they are not competition to us, because we have been tying up very rapidly with all these food companies which are doing the delivery part of the business. And so suddenly it takes away a huge load from us. We don't need to have our bikes and have our people to deliver. We are piggybacking right on the infrastructure that these people set up, and I think our revenues have gone up by 20% just because they are doing the delivery for us, and they need Jumboking to deliver the product, and Jumboking needs them to create that additional channel.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
In terms of growth going ahead as well, any particular pockets in terms of cities, towns? As you said, you're sticking to the core product, but any particular strategy in terms of where you want to be focused? Because the QSR segment of the market is suddenly heating up. We're seeing more players. There's that much more competition as well. So what are your plans?
So we have done our market research and studies, and so I think it's the same for everyone. It's the top 12 cities in the country so we have a centralized manufacturing unit in Pune, which transfers the goods to these 12 cities, and then from there all the satellite towns around those cities get serviced. So it is very, very clearly put up 50 stores in these 12 cities and then put up your next 50 in the towns around them.
Any word of advice for some of the young entrepreneurs who are looking at it? Because you probably are from the first school of entrepreneurs who this country really saw. Any word of advice to them?
I would very, very strongly suggest focus on the product and the consumer need which it is fulfilling. And so Vada Pav, which was considered to be a Mumbai phenomena, is doing extremely well in Bangalore once you realize that Mumbai eats so much Vada Pav because they're short on time, not on money. So in each of those cities, people are short on time. You give them the product and it's a hit with them.
All right, Dheeraj, always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks so much for stopping by today and sharing your story with us. Clearly, that's already made me hungry.
On that note, I think we're going to take your leave this afternoon on Countdown. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for watching.